podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
and special guest.
Nora Chambers.
And we thought we'd do something kind of a little bit different today. Everybody's got their favorite movies out there, and we decide, you know what? Talking about movies leads to all kinds of funny stories. So we're just going to talk about our favorite flicks, or ones we can remember. So we were talking earlier because Nora said she just saw Transformers 3, and that was going back to the original 80s Transformers cartoon movie.
Which I've never seen.
Sadly, I don't know how you got through life without seeing that.
Well, I've seen like episodes of the original cartoon from the '80s, but I never saw the movie.
Well, the movie was like, because the cartoon show was kind of like, you go back and watch that, and it feels kind of like an 80s cartoon show where it's a little bit cheesy and the lines aren't nearly as good as you quite remember.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie was a PG-13 movie with swearing, and Optimus Prime dies like in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what I was told the other night because I haven't actually seen the animated movie. I was like you, Ryan. I only saw the cartoon, and we were watching it last night. And the person I was watching with was like, "It's like, I remember the cartoon, and it was so stupid because they killed Optimus in like the first 20 minutes." I'm like, "Well, then what the hell is the point of the movie? Like, you kill out the most
I
important dude."
I never saw it, but I know Hot Rod came in and became the new leader or something.
Yeah.
Hot Rod Prime or something. Or Rod
Yeah,
Prime.
and then I can't remember. There's a guy that
The
actually took over
teenage
kind of
Prime.
like. There's actually the guy that actually took over Optimus's position. I can't remember who that guy is right now. He was like another semi truck driver, but I can't remember his name.
Oh.
But no, that movie blew your mind as a kid, and it's actually filled with a lot of drama, action. I mean, just the idea of actually seeing it in a cartoon, especially like in the '80s, of like the main character dying.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty.
That would push kids to tears in the theaters back then.
Yeah, exactly.
I never
Yeah.
seen
It's
it.
a PG-13 movie, so I wonder how many I know kids are taking any. Well, kids taking anything, but
Well, a lot of times parents didn't even pay attention to the rating. Like,
no.
Yeah, it was the 80s.
and then there was I never saw it, but like Orson Welles was the voice of the bad guy, didn't he?
No, he was the narrator.
Oh, he was the narrator. I thought he was the voice of Unicron or whatever.
No, he was the narrator of the story.
Okay.
But,
His last thing.
Yeah, that was the last movie Orson Welles ever did.
From the man that brought you Citizen Kane.
Here comes Transformers.
Yeah.
And blood and guns.
Blood and Guns. I forgot about Blood and Guns.
Yeah,
Tell your story about Blood and Guns. How you came across it.
well, I was buying movies at the video scene, this classic place in Twain that doesn't exist anymore.
Sadly.
And I just saw this movie called Blood and Guns, and it was like probably like 50 cents or something. I thought it'd make a better movie prop than to make an actual movie. So we decided to use it as like Batman's all-time favorite movie, or Drunk Batman's all-time favorite movie.
For a video we never ended up finishing, but we might bring it in at some point.
So yeah, it still exists as a 5-minute file. It's actually kind of funny still.
Because the cover, on the cover of it, it looks like something like Drunk Batman would totally love. Because on the cover, it has like a dude, looks like a Mexican dude. It looks kind of like Rambo, has a bunch of bullets. He's holding a gun, and then like it says in the title Blood and Guns. The two O's are like just two bullets like firing off. There's a chick running wearing nothing but a towel. Then you see like featuring Orson Welles as the bad guy in the far corner. He's like a fat evil general.
And there's like bombs and explosions going off in the background and everything.
Like, yeah,
But it really is kind of like watching the movie. We didn't even finish it really, but it was like a half-assed like Rambo movie. I mean, that's kind of expected, like a B-grade movie, C-grade really.
starring like the man who created one of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah, technically I guess he wasn't starring, but
He was the bad guy, so
that has nothing to do with favorite flicks for some reason. That's
was
just a
gonna
movie
say,
that had an
these are-
interesting story.
Those are fascinating stories.
I know.
I know the video scene has one of my favorite movies, Held Hostage, and just Grind.
What-
It's a skateboard
You
movie.
never saw Grind?
I never saw Grind. No.
Oh, it's
I was
Oh
held
yeah,
hostage.
it's a skateboard movie. It's got Adam Brody in it, and it's these four guys from somewhere, and they decide to follow this fancy skateboard dude who's played by Jason London. I think it's either him or his brother. There's two of them, and they're identical twins, and it gets hard to tell them apart because one does Out Cold, one is in Dazed and Confused, and one does Grind, and I always get them all mixed up.
Huh.
Yeah.
No, I remember I saw the movie when it came out, or saw him when it came out.
Yeah, and
TV.
he's the professional skateboarder that they're following across country, and I always loved it because you get to meet Ryan Sheckler. It was like the first thing he ever did. And he was like 12 years old, and he was like a pro skater at that point in his life, filming a movie, acting like just like some normal kid. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna challenge you," and you actually got to see him skate and stuff like that.
Is is this one of those like whoa 90s movies or like late 80s movies?
No, it
it's
was
like
like
it's like
early 2000s. Yeah, it was like
Oh,
early
okay.
But it is
2000s
kind of
movie.
it is a whoa movie, I would say.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely is.
Well, we refer to as whoa movies or like those like early 90s comedies like a couple of wacky kids just inherited an old mansion. What do? Turn it into a crazy party house
Well, mostly those
featuring
movies.
music by the Goo Goo Dolls and Oasis, you know.
Yeah, most of those
Yeah.
movies that they originated like in the '80s and they kind of just progressed and they got really popular in the '90s and they kind of dwindled in like the early 2000s. You can still find them, but
You can find like a few gripping onto that. Like Accepted was kind of like that.
Accept is actually pretty old by now. Anything? I think it was like
I
2004.
love that movie.
There's Accepted was kind of like it. Was Out Cold the one where is that the movie the where like Zach Galifianakis it's the
Never-
Yes,
snowboard movie.
Where he, like,
yes,
fucks
I
the-
absolutely love that movie. I have that movie memorized, like damn near word for word. The chick who played Inga, she was actually a porn star before, and that was that movie she thought was gonna be her breakout role, so she could get out of porn. It didn't work out too terribly well for her. It was Zach Galifianakis that what I think is his best ever because is him as a person I think is much more like this character of Luke.
Mhm.
And then he's got a brother that they name his real name's Pierre, and they call him Pigpen because he's really
He's like
gross.
he's like the retarded guy of the
yes,
group. Yeah.
he's the idiot. And oh
Saw the movie
god, I
once.
love that movie. I absolutely love that movie.
I think that was kind of like a sleeper hit too, because it was one of those movies that came out in theaters, and I don't remember anybody talking about it. But as it kind of surfaced on like video,
Yeah,
it
as
got
it
passed
surfaced,
along.
yeah, as it got passed along through like DVD, because I didn't see it in theaters. I got it passed along to me from my brother, and I fell in love with it.
I remember a lot of like that kind of came out when like I remember like skateboarding and snowboarding kind of became really popular again like early 2000s late 90s.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
that was like the time when snowboarding was really popular.
Which is why the reason I love Out Cold, because some of just the filming of where they go snowboarding in Alaska is just epic.
And what was the guy what guy was you mentioned the actor from Out Cold. What was his name and which one was he again? Was he the main guy?
Oh, oh god, I don't remember which twin it is.
But was he the main guy in the movie or was
Yeah,
he
he was the
okay.
main character who is Rick Rambus in the movie. Is his name?
Oh, okay. I saw the movie once. I mean, they actually had some Casablanca shout-outs in that movie. Which
yes,
you know.
yes they
Yeah.
did. Yes they did.
That movie always the one that was kind of cool about it. Always reminded me of like kind of like Twain Hart era because I just had that like Snowtown village.
Oh yeah, it definitely had, especially just like the way that the locals act. I'm just like, the people from the city come up and they're just like appalled at the way these locals are acting, and I'm sitting in my living room going, there's people doing that 2 houses down from me right now.
Yeah, same thing.
There was a bunch of stupid yuppie old fucks that moved up here. They trying to like I remember what they call them the beautification committee or
Mm.
something. And they're like, we don't
Yes.
want like neon signs in restaurants. Like they're trying to pass laws saying they don't want neon signs in windows. They didn't. You had to confront them about like painting your house or painting your business beforehand. Which this
Yeah,
kinda
they wanted
reminds me
to
of that
keep.
movie.
Yeah, they wanted to keep everything like natural looking.
But
Yeah.
none of these people were fucking from this town.
No, that pisses me
No.
off when people aren't from an area, but they want to like control it.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not from this town originally, but I'm not gonna fucking move in like, hey, this is how you're gonna run your shit now.
No, yeah, you got to accept it and like become one of the people. Don't try to force upon your ideas.
Yeah. Oh god, I love that movie though. Now I might want to go home and watch that movie later.
I haven't seen that movie since like high school. I think I borrowed it from like Jared Kripe or something like that. I think that's what happened.
That's awesome. I watch that movie like at least once a month.
But, no,
Easily.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Especially with the snows a coming, I'll be watching it a whole lot more. Not gonna lie.
Well, what would be other than that movie? What would be your number one choice movie on a snowy day? As long as you have electricity. That's the number one thing first.
Other than that, I'm not gonna lie. I'd say Nightmare Before Christmas.
We were
Nightmare
just
Before
watching that.
I love that movie. I will watch it at Halloween and I will watch it at Christmas. It makes me so happy. It makes me so sad that my roommate hates it. She like is kind of scared of it. It kind of freaks her out, and it makes me bummed out because I can't watch it when she's home.
Yeah, that's a movie I haven't really actually watched since like '95. Like I remember I haven't watched this. It originally came out on video.
Oh god, I love it.
That movie came back with a fierce vengeance, and like when emo became big,
Seriously.
a bunch of emo kids just fucking loved it. Now people still know it, and people still remember that movie, but it almost seems like it's about to die off again because emo's just about dead. So
Which is I'm kind of okay with.
Well, the thing about emo, I always felt that emo was really created by two things. It was created by kids growing up watching Disney movies and kids growing up pretty much playing like Nintendo. Like it's strange enough, like that fused together, and that's why you get something like Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is really the
I'm
sum
not. Yeah, I'm not
of
gonna
all
lie.
emo known to mankind because it's like you were a kid in the 90s, maybe late 80s. You grew up watching Disney animated features, and you played like video games, as in Final Fantasy, Super Metroid, anything like that.
Watched a lot of anime.
Yeah, watched a lot of anime.
And the characters
gosh.
have like some emo-esque kind of clothing. They're always wearing like black, thick, baggy hoodies and all that shit.
But I always feel like the source of all source emo was always Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh,
A lot of
and I
people will tell you
love
The
it.
Cure, but
Well, if you come from like one of those like 80s like emo
Yeah.
ones. The 90s
But
kids aren't going to know that as much.
hmm But then there's regarding Nightmare Before, if Tim Burton wanted to make like buy his own island overnight, he should just make Nightmare Before Christmas too. Not saying it'd be a good movie, not saying he has to make that, but if he wanted to make an ungodly amount of money, he just has to make that.
Yeah, he probably would be able to do
Well, I
that
feel
too.
like you'd easily make an easy $500,000 just in your theatrical release.
Yeah, not including like
DVD, toys, clothes, shirts.
All kinds of other crap to go along with it. Oh yeah. I'd still be a bigger fan of the original, hands down, no matter what.
but people would go to see it and he would make a shit ton of money.
Oh yeah.
Well, because he keeps making those movies like those kind of like they're like it's not Nightmare Before Christmas, but it is Nightmare Before Christmas style.
Oh yeah, they did
like
Corpse
Coraline
Bride.
and
Yeah,
Corpse Bride.
yeah. Coraline wasn't actually like written by Tim Burton. He just helped with that one.
Yeah.
It was
And you can kind of tell a little bit. That one was kind of odd. I do remember seeing that one. It was kind of creepy.
I never saw Coraline, but the thing about that movie was they advertised from the creator of Nightmare Before Christmas, but it was Tim Burton wrote Nightmare Before Christmas and he produced it. He didn't direct it. And
Yeah.
The guy who did Coraline, that's the guy that actually directed it.
Yeah, and that's why it was like Tim Burton. He
Yeah, I
helped
knew it was
and
a
put
Tim
in.
Burton produced one, but
Yeah,
Mhm.
he.
it's still in his like kind of like form, like
Yeah, because the other one he did was Corpse Bride, which was with Johnny Depp,
J-Deb.
of course. I mean, it's the ultimate pairing.
The standard Tim Burton movie now, it's kind of like, all right, put Johnny Depp front and center, silly hat, Danny Elfman music.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
We got a movie.
Yeah.
Well, and then
Write
of
some
course you know
dialogue around it.
his wife always has to make an appearance too,
Yeah, she does.
and I quite love her too. I'm not gonna lie. I
She's
think
a-
she's awesome.
she looks like a walking corpse by this point. Because she's always covered like in hella eyeshadow, very pale.
And it's the hair, because I love her to death, and she can look so pretty, but at the same time she can look so beat up.
Ellen Von Carter, what's her name?
Helena Bonham Carter.
There you
Yeah,
go.
she's in
Yeah.
Fight Club.
I
Yeah,
like her a lot in Fight Club.
she makes a great tweaker.
She has one of my favorite lines in that movie. Like, haven't fucked like that since grade school.
Yes. Oh my god.
Just one of
That's
those
right,
quick,
I
funny
love-
like cuts. It's just like the shit this bitch says goes that line goes back.
That
to
line was actually just that came in last second because that wasn't in the book. It was a different line in the book.
Really?
Yeah, and those changed like what's his name?
Brad
Fincher?
Pitt.
Yeah, David Fincher. He changed that like kind of like I think he literally changed it as they were shooting that scene.
What was the original line in the book? I haven't read the book. You think I would?
Oh yeah, you haven't read the book.
Given how many Chuck Palahniuk books I have.
I actually really don't remember the line off the top of my head.
Way to let the audience down, Spencer.
Exactly. I don't know. I think it's one of those ones like I think the line was actually worse in the book, but it was funnier in the movie. Like that's like that
Yeah.
line's a funnier line, and the other line was more like a more derogatory line. I think.
Oh.
I think that was the difference.
No one's fucked me like that since Dad or whatever. Something probably around those
No,
lines.
not like that. Not like dark, but
Just not right.
yeah, I can't remember what it was though. But
I love that movie, Fight Club.
I guess. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The very first time I saw that movie, it was total like, just the hell just happened. That's
is-
all I could think, just because it's quite a shocking end. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, it is one of those things when you first see that movie. It is kind of like you think, oh, okay, just guys punching the piss out of each other. It's like it's a 2-hour and 30-minute movie, and it's like so weird and so different. You know,
Yeah.
it's more of a drama than anything. But I want to say this before you said your favorite snowy day movie.
I want to continue on the Fight Club before we
Fight
change
Club. Okay, yeah.
topics.
Okay.
We'll go back to the old topic. Fight Club. Okay.
But I just remember like the first time I actually watched a movie though, like I didn't like that movie at first because I just like when the second I realized Brad Pitt was not real, I'm like this is fucking stupid, and it really ruined the movie for me. Like when I saw that, but then when I wanted to watch it again, like and accepted like okay whatever Brad Pitt's not real, I have to get to accept that. Then I actually ended up really enjoying that movie.
The thing that doesn't bother me just because I know we said this before, but I just think it's funny. Like when Edward Norton confronts Brad Pitt or Tyler Durden, and he's all like, "I'm everything you want to be." It's like every guy does want to be Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
it
right?
made perfect sense to me by that point. It's like, oh yeah, I guess that is true.
At that point, I was pretty like, well, that's one of those lines. I was like, well, yes,
Mhm.
yes, this is a truth fact. Every guy in this country does want to be you, and especially at that point in his life and in his career, because he was gorgeous, he was cut, he was with Jennifer Aniston, and he was
Mhm.
looking good. He wasn't messing around with what's her bucket and having all her goddamn
Angelina
kids.
Jolie.
And all their fucking children. Saving the planet by adopting everybody.
Yeah.
But, oh god, yeah. And every woman loved that movie simply because they would show him topless and he was amazingly cut.
Well, when they were originally making that movie, they thought it was gonna be a really hard movie to market to like men at that period because it had Brad Pitt in it, and Brad Pitt wasn't like man marketable yet.
No, not until he started bloodying people's faces, and then the men loved him and the women loved him.
And then the funny thing nowadays though is that women seem to like not like Brad Pitt nearly as much. I talked to a lot of
No.
girls, and they're very anti Brad Pitt anymore.
Which
Yeah.
I noticed that I noticed a lot of times guys that girls love, guys often hate them, but then like they come around eventually, they end up liking them, and the girls hate them. I think that might
That's
happen.
like Leo.
Yeah, Leo DiCaprio. Well, actually, I still.
I
girls.
still like Leo. I'm not gonna lie. He had a little moment in time there where he was a little twacked out and not doing too hot, but
Mhm.
I would say when he did The Aviator,
Mhm.
and from about like that time period to up until now, I've loved the stuff that he's done, and I think he's doing fantastical. And I'm really excited to see him in The Great Gatsby.
Yeah, same here. And like it's one of those things when you're younger, it's like good looking guy, has
Squinty
everything,
eyes.
beautiful face, and you just feel kind of like that. But then you
Yeah, when he
Fucking
first showed up
Romeo.
in
Yeah.
first showed up in Titanic with the hair.
yeah, exactly. But
That's
then
what it was. It was when he first showed up in Titanic and he had the hair.
keep on like flipping it back.
Yeah,
the
he
whole
always
time.
had the hair. It hung just ever so right in his eyes, and all the girls swooned, and all the guys went, I don't see what the big deal
We just
is.
wish this bitch gets naked already.
Yeah, and then they showed her boobs, and guys were like, yeah,
Yeah,
this movie's
fucking
awesome!
PG-13
Boobs!
movie.
But it's over. Oh, okay.
But Ryan, what would be your snowy day movie? Back on original topic.
The Thing.
The Thing is a very good movie. That's one of my favorite movies. The second one, pretty much.
Yeah, I haven't seen the original, but The Thing, yeah.
The 82.
82 Thing.
That is a good movie.
Seems like a weird one to watch on a snowy day, But
Yeah, I was gonna say a little odd, not gonna lie.
It's like, I guess you put you in the mood to be out in the snow.
that or The Shining,
The
so-
Shining would be a good one.
It makes you want to just
God.
stay inside,
The Shining is a good movie. The only problem is I wish they would redo the sound in that movie because, especially on like really nice surround sound, I watched that movie one day and it gave me the worst fucking headache of my life.
All the dun,
then-
dun,
Like, yeah,
dun.
God.
Now, were you watching it like on a good copy?
No, that was the problem.
Okay,
It was
'cause,
like,
they have it on Blu-ray now. Cause like
see, okay, and that I did not know because we watched it on. It was my roommate when I lived in the Bay Area. He had it. I don't know if he like rented it on DVD or something, and it made me. I really need to leave the room a couple times because just the sound levels were just not right.
Not equal.
Ugh.
It happens in a lot of older movies. I don't know why they must have been designed more for movie theaters than they are for like home video, obviously.
Yeah, well, because
We're
you
like-
weren't supposed to have that surround sound
Mhm.
in your house, and then now you have the surround sound. So when you get the older copies of things, it doesn't know how to disperse itself correctly.
Well, just in older movies in general, like it's in 60s and 70s movies a lot of times, and even pre that sometimes, it's like you'll get like the talking, and then the action is just like you have to like keep changing the volume because it's just like it's not equal
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, that happened a lot.
I know
Yeah.
there's some Bond movies like the Sean Connery ones are kind of like that.
Like whispering and all of a
Like
sudden,
gun fires up, rattles the whole house. I guess
Yeah.
you want the real effect.
do you have a favorite snowy day movie, or did you already say yours?
I didn't really get to say a snowy day movie. If I had to have to choose a very favorite snowy movie, it would have to give me that good old warm feel inside. To be Captain Ron with Kurt Russell.
Oh God, I love it.
That's one of my all-time favorite movies when it gets down to. It's like I always call those movies like the warm feel movies. You know, it's,
The warm fuzzy movies.
and everybody has different movies on that because it's a very personal thing. It's not really based on the movie itself. It's just more based on how that movie affected your early life.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the movies of me, Captain Ron.
That movie cracks me. I was talking about that the other day with Mike, actually.
Oh yeah,
Because, ironically enough, Mike has a neighbor named Captain Ron.
that is so badass.
Really?
Yes.
In my life, I've strived to become more like Captain Ron.
I've noticed. With
Yeah,
the
that's
hair.
what Bob, give me another brewski.
Oh, God, I love that movie so much.
Not gonna lie, I've only seen the movie like twice.
Seriously?
I've
That's
seen it,
one of my
it's-
favorite movies.
It's yeah, it's a good movie. I
love
do
it.
like it. I wouldn't mind owning that movie someday. Yeah.
That's one of those movies that, like, that movie and then, like, McHale's Navy. I loved that movie.
Is that the one that's got Kelsey Grammer in it?
Yes.
Yeah, no, wait, yeah, that is the one. Yeah. I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that since like the 90s. That was a really good movie though, from what I remember.
I love that movie because it had that guy, and I do not know his
Kurt
name.
Russell?
No. He played the bad guy. He played the terrorist that was taking over the other side of the island, and Mikhail was gonna save the day. And I do not know this guy's name, but he played a villain in a lot of things throughout the 90s, and I loved him in this movie because he had such a horribly done accent.
But what other movies was he a villain in?
Oh, golly gee, well, see, now I feel bad because I need to look him up.
Yeah, so that's my downfall. Is you get
The-
these questions, but it's like, well, what was it?
Yeah, and then it's like I can't remember. It's like I have his face perfectly pictured in my head, and I've never been able to find out his name, and I'm always like, that's right, you're always a bad guy. Like you're always just kind of an asshole. And he's usually like a rich asshole. Like he's usually some rich guy that turns out to be the bad guy in the end. And you're like, I should have known it the first time I saw you.
Another example of that, I can't remember the guy's name either, but he's one of those people. He's one of two things. He's either he has the most minor part in the movie, or he's like the second biggest character of the movie. He's in most recent thing I can think he was in was The Dark Knight. He was the when they're robbing the mob bank at the very beginning. He's the guy that comes after Joker, the shotgun. He's just like, you know who owns this bank? You and your friends are dead. He was also in Black Hawk Down. He was the guy who's being very like challenging to his commander. He was. You know what else he was in? Something just in. I didn't see it. But I know I saw him in the trailer. He was the bad guy in Drive Angry with Nicolas Cage. He was Satan's right hand man chasing down Nicolas Cage.
Huh. I know what you guys are talking about from The Dark Knight, but
Because every movie I see that dude in, I can't remember his name. Actually, you know what else he was one of the pilot. He was like the pilot in Armageddon who comes to Liv Tyler at the end. He's like, I like to shake the hand of the daughter of the bravest man I ever met.
Oh, okay. Well, I know these characters.
Well, he
Right,
poor guy,
I feel bad for those actors. I'm not gonna lie. They were like, I can name like everything you've done. I can't tell you your real name though. I'm sorry.
Well, it's like I just know him because he does every. I think he was on Saturday Night Live before too, but he generally just has the most minor character, or he's a pretty big character, one or the other. There's no in between.
Yeah.
He's never the main character, but like secondary, character.
I have that all the time. Me and Tavana are always watching stuff that we're like, oh, I totally recognize this person. I can't tell you their real name, but I can tell you about 5 other things that they were some kind of like, never a starring role, but always kind of a minor character, and you always remember seeing them in everything.
What's that guy's name? Saeed from Lost? Okay,
Yeah, right. That's a lot of times that's what I do. Like, there's the dad. That's what we want to call him. Is the dad. He plays the dad in Weeds. If you look at the old video clips, he played a character named Denny Duquette on Grey's Anatomy. He's the dad of the guys in Supernatural. He plays a dad a lot. He's gorgeous. I absolutely love him. I think he's one of the hottest guys in the world. Can't tell you his real name. I call him
dad.
Denny.
I'm assuming he's a little older though.
Oh yeah.
Well, who really made like a good profession off being those kind of characters though? It's Christopher Walken.
Oh, this guy looks like Christopher Walken. The one I'm mentioning, he looks a lot like Christopher Walken.
Because Christopher Walken, he really kind of. I mean, he was in some. Actually, when he started out, he was actually in bigger movies. Then, for some reason, he became like these like small bit roles and secondary roles, and then he kind of came back with this huge fandom.
He seems kind of like the guy because he's always really good, but he's not always in the greatest movies.
No.
I think he's the kind of guy you throw a script in front of him, like, I'd be happy to do this movie for you,
If I just had the right amount of money. That's really kind of how it goes.
Not even so much that, because I've seen him in things like that looks very low budget.
Well, I mean, probably
all the money went to him or something.
I really feel like those low budget movies that have them in it, like The Balls of Fury or whatever.
Oh, dear God.
I really felt like whatever money it cost to make that movie, like 90% of that was just to get Christopher Walken on the cover. Because they know that, because I bet you anything, that movie, all the money that movie probably made mostly, somebody said, like, it's got Christopher Walken in it, I gotta at least see it.
And that's what I thought, and I regretted it.
See, there we go, I got you.
Yeah.
So that's all it needs is if you hang a little bit of Christopher out, somebody will come abiding.
Well, it was generally just like it was Enter the Dragon, but with ping pong, and it was stupid.
Yeah. Not like Enter the Dragon, which is probably one of the best martial arts movies of all time.
So that's one of my favorite martial arts movies of all time. That one, that really it makes me sad knowing that was Bruce Lee's last movie. I mean, Game of Death, he never finished. But,
Yeah.
I'll say I was a big fan of Bruce Lee's son.
I would say, Nora, do you ever watch any kung fu movies?
No, I tried watching a couple with my roommate down in the Bay Area, and I got lost.
Yeah, they're kind of movies you either like really like them or you kind of have a hard time getting into them.
No, I'm gonna call the girl card on one of those. It's just those movies, especially when you got to read subtitles. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of check out.
Yeah, all the best ones you have to read subtitles in mostly.
Well, there's certain ones that I do like Pan's Labyrinth. I really like that movie, and
That's
it's all
a
in.
kung fu movie?
No, it's
just subtitles.
No, it's just a subtitled movie.
The girl at some point gets up and starts straight up boxing one of those.
Like,
No,
why
no.
you didn't tell me about that part?
No, it's just it's a very interesting movie that's all done in Spanish, but it is subtitled and there is quite a bit I've still missed in it because I can't read that goddamn fast without my glasses, and I usually have a bad tendency to watch it without glasses.
That's a good movie. I like that one.
It's like I always
Yeah.
like foreign movies, but the only downfall of watching subtitles is you have to switch between watching the movie and then reading the subtitles.
Yeah, and that's
So you kind
why.
of miss out on stuff. That's the only kind of downfall.
Yeah, and
It's like even if the movie's such a good movie, it's like there's always that thing. It's just like I gotta read it, so I'm not gonna be able to watch it as well.
We
Yeah.
said this: if you watch like an old kung fu movie, like '80s and back, it's the people doing the voiceovers always sound like Rat Pack members that didn't make it in.
Yeah, they always felt like like X like. We could have been. Well, they're probably like the fill-ins for everyone ever
Yeah.
like Frank didn't show up.
Sammy Davis Jr. or
Put this makeup
someone.
on really quickly. Nobody will know.
the original impersonators.
Yeah, exactly.
But well, actually,
Listen, I'll use my fist of that. See, yeah, you know.
well, even technically, when you think about all the old kung fu movies from like the 70s, 60s, 70s, and up, and yeah, actually even back before that, they're all silent movies. Even in China, like they would actually dub them over themselves, but they just shoot them all silent. So
Oh.
no matter what, there's actually no true voices in any of those kung fu movies.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a
they're
fun
they're,
fact
they're
I
all
didn't know.
silent movies. They're all the Bruce Lee ones, all the Jackie Chan ones, and anything like that.
I love Bruce Lee, but some of his movies have some of the funniest moments in them. They're not intended to be funny, but they're just so fucking hilarious. And here's one thing: if you're a child in a kung fu movie, you are fucked. Because what's gonna
They
happen
always
at
die.
some point? Yeah, like that's a movie where they're not afraid to kill kids. And like, there's like at the beginning of not Chinese Connection, Big Boss. Here it's called Fist of Fury. There's a part when Bruce Lee just comes into town and there's some kid like selling rice cakes and like some full-grown man with a mustache and all. It's just like, hey, I got some. That's how the kids talk in all the movies. I got some rice cakes. Oh, you got rice cakes? Hey, let me see here. Oh, yeah, these are good. Hey guys, come get these rice cakes. They're good. Hey, you got it. Get out here, you little prick! Just punches the kid in the face.
Oh my
It's like,
god.
he stole my rice cake. Later on in that movie, you know, of course, Bruce Lee and
Comes in afterwards.
comes in after him, and then they have some more stuff. It's a really good movie. Check it out. The only thing that's weird about it is there's sort of a. I watched it several times trying to look for maybe something I missed. Apparently, his cousins are trying to set him up with his girl cousin, which I don't know. Maybe it's
Oh
a
yeah, I
Chinese
know. I
thing.
thought that was a weird thing too. I remember when watching that movie.
Like, there's at one point he goes with
That's
this one chick. She's
strange.
like, "You realize your cousin wants to fuck you, right?" you know. But it was
I haven't been gone for a while.
so. But then
Oh, God.
later in the movie, because he's working, I won't go into all the details. But there's at one point, the bad guys go to his house and they just kill everybody in the house. And he's looking through he's just running around, just looking for everybody, and just blatantly, it just looks so like just fake, just so brutal at the same time. The kid is just laying on the bed, face down, with just a knife in his back. They didn't bother to pull it out. I can't explain why it's funny. You just see it, just because it looks so fake. Just
Yeah, I
this
was gonna
kid.
say just one of
Well,
those
it's more
beyond
funny.
fake props.
For like how it's just like the kid is just like so more. It's like murdered so bad compared to everybody else.
Because everybody else is just kind of laying on the ground, like, oh, they got my fat funny friend, they got my other skinny cousin. They come to the kid, just blatantly, just face down on the bed, knife in the back. Like, you didn't bother to take the knife with you? No, fuck it. We were trying to make a point.
Yeah, seriously, it's like they were trying to use the kid as the point.
Yeah.
We don't care.
Right, I see you got a list there of movies.
In case I forgot some, yeah. The second's like, oh fuck, we're rolling. All right. What was my favorite? Shit. I guess I said this before, but I'll say one of my favorite movies.
Actually, by looking at your list, you want to go by categories, like as in like horror. Since we did like, actually we didn't do any categories. Our category was like our favorite like winter.
Our snow day.
Or
What do you
Snowden.
feel like? You know, what's
Like I just looked at yours because I just.
what's
like,
your favorite snack movie?
like if you what would be your favorite horror movie? Or at least
Ooh.
not your number one, but like what is a really good horror movie that you enjoy?
Ooh, okay. Well, since I hate the gore porn, is what I call the crap that comes out nowadays, like the Saw and all that. That shit's gross. I'm actually a huge fan of Jason.
Okay, I like Jason.
Huge fan of Jason. He's my favorite serial killer.
Now,
I'm not gonna lie, I
If you had
love
to choose
Jason.
a Friday the 13th movie is your
Part
favorite one.
3.
Part 3?
Yeah.
My all-time favorite one is Part 8, the one where Jason takes Manhattan.
Yeah. God. I saw the other night Jason X was on, which was.
Oh, that one's horrible though.
Oh my
Jason in
God.
Space?
Yes, it killed me. I think the
Yeah.
very first I think the first time I saw that, I'm not gonna lie, I was high as hell, and it was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was on like Cinemax or something, and I was like, Jason X, what the fuck? So I clicked it to watch it, and they show the little like nanobots that are supposed to like repair legs, and they repair them and they make them like this ultimate like metal mask and shit,
Cyborg
and
and
I'm
shit.
just like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me?
You
Yeah.
know you're running out of ideas. You say, Jason in space.
Yeah,
Muppets
seriously.
in space. So.
Yeah, when you send a movie into space, it doesn't do very well.
The only time it really worked out was Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, or Muppets in Space.
Not my favorite Muppets movie.
Yeah, I'd
it's
say
the best
Muppet Treasure Island was
yeah,
my favorite
Muppet
Muppets
Treasure
movie.
Island's the
That one's
best.
good.
Actually, I did see the Muppets movie with Jason Segel in it, and I did quite like it.
Yeah, I haven't got to see that new one yet.
I have it on DVD if you want to borrow it.
They're cool. I
I'm
really
right.
like Muppets.
I had this one friend. I'm not gonna go into all the heavy details, but I remember I had this one friend, and his dad was kind of a prick, and he was talking shit on the kid next door, saying the stupid kid next door. He just the dumbest prick I know. Yeah, he's just like hardcore like Minnesota, kind of like just angry, man, just angry, like from the 50s almost. Just going on ripping on this kid. I mean, all he has over there, he doesn't have any ambition. He just has Muppets magazine. I was like, where the fuck did that come from? At the same time, I'm thinking, what's wrong with the Muppets?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Muppets were nice. They taught you good values.
No, Muppets were good. I enjoyed them. Muppet Treasure Island though is hilarious though.
Yeah, I
That has
loved
some great
that one.
bits in it.
I'm not the boy that's in it. I hope he grew up to sound a little bit more like a boy, because I did see it recently and I totally forgot how girly he sings.
I forgot they're singing in
You
there.
know, speaking of girly, is I was watching fucking Fievel, but the very first one, American
yes!
Tail.
When he first
One
comes.
thing was his voice is like
His
I mean,
voice
I
is a
know he's
girl.
supposed to be like 5 years old, but it's just like when he screams, it's just like, dude, what the fuck, grow up hair.
Yeah.
Well, I don't care if you're 5 years old. It's like,
Or you're a
seriously,
fucking
like,
mouse.
It sounds like he's getting like raped each time he screams, and he screams a lot in that movie.
Yeah, he does. His little ears wiggle. You know what I saw on DVD the other day at Walmart, and I'm actually kind of regretting the fact that I didn't buy it, was The Great Mouse Detective.
That movie was just playing the other day on my
Oh,
VHS player.
I love it. I love it.
That's the Disney one, right?
It's a Sherlock Holmes
Yeah,
one,
it's a
pretty
Sherlock Holmes
I remember
movie
that one.
that's mouse versioned.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah.
Because mice are always kid-friendly.
Exactly.
They're non-threatening.
And cats are always bad. If you ever watch a
Yeah.
Disney movie, a cat is an asshole.
Yeah.
Unless it's
If-
the Aristocats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure. I think that one did come out after
Were they
Disney
dogs?
died.
Were they dogs?
No,
Oh,
those are
yeah.
Aristocats, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure
Aristodogs.
that movie came out after Walt Disney died.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, I think that was like the first one to come out.
Yeah, like
those are the
right
70s
after he
ones.
died. Yeah, it was like right.
Jungle Book was the last one, I thought, wasn't it?
That was 67.
Jungle Book was the last movie Walt had a touch on before he died. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aristocats is in the 70s.
Aristocats was in the 70s? I thought that was like a total 80s movie.
Mm-mm.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Then.
You're thinking of Oliver and
Oh,
Company.
yeah,
probably.
yeah, Oliver
Yeah,
and
I'm
Company.
thinking of Oliver. And
That's where you get the dogs.
Yeah, that's where you got the dogs from too.
Yeah,
It's
because I
Oliver
remember they
and
had the whole like street vibe 80s
Yeah,
thing going on
because it
in the
was
movie.
It's got like Huey Lewis and Billy Joel.
Billy Joel. I was gonna say Billy Joel is the main dog,
I was
not the kid cat. There is a
Yeah,
cat
yeah.
in it,
Yeah,
yes.
Cheech.
Yeah, but yes, it's got, yeah,
Cheech was,
Cheech.
of course, the Chihuahua.
Yeah, Cheech
Yes.
is like the Mexican stereotype. Pretty
Of
much.
course, that was back when you could do that and nobody complained.
No. They
God,
thought it was funny.
I
It
love
still
those
is kinda
Disney
funny.
movies.
I watched that movie too the other. I sort of watched it. It was on while I was editing, but
Oliver Twist.
no,
Or the
Oliver and
Oliver-
Company.
Oliver and Company.
It's based
That's
on
right.
Oliver Twist.
Yeah,
but
that's
with
right.
dogs, so it's more kid friendly.
Oh, it's Disney. Animate animals. It always makes it better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Makes them so friendly.
Dude, I remember the ending has like such a violent ending. Like those poor like two dogs and that guy like brutally died at the very end
Yeah.
of that movie.
Wait, what movie is it? Oliver and Company?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know when,
Oliver
like the
and
car
Company.
goes down, like blows up, and like
Yeah.
the dogs are in there like scrambling and shit.
I don't remember, were they evil dogs? I haven't seen
They
the
were
movie
bad
so
dogs.
Yeah, they were
but it's just
bad
one of those ones,
guys,
just
yeah.
The whole thought of it, like how brutally they die, and it's just like,
yeah,
oh,
you're just like,
God.
ugh. That's I feel like when everybody started getting desensitized to violence.
What
Disney
happens in
slowly did.
Disney, yeah.
Yes, Disney slowly did it to our kind. They started by killing Bambi's mom, which
Yeah.
that didn't really affect me. That's because I grew up with deers on my wall.
I guess it was always implied, but because they're always like the guy might fall off a cliff or something like that. But I guess that's the first one where it's like, because I don't remember that, but the car blew up and the dog's like, oh fuck, we gotta get it.
Yeah.
They didn't get out.
There's also I remember All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yeah. That
I remember
wasn't
that
a
one.
Disney one. That was
No, that wasn't a Disney one, but that was another one where it was like a little bit more violent for a kid movie when I saw it more recently.
I remember the dog, like, because it was a German Shepherd, and I don't remember how, but like, it's like it was something like he goes to heaven. It's like, yeah, I can just chill here. It's awesome. Fuck that. He just leaves. And
Yeah, he
thinks-
doesn't want to die, so he comes back as like a spirit with him and his little wiener dog friend. And
Yeah.
And then
And the
like,
cat is the devil, and the cat's trying to entice him and wants his soul and hoopla and whatnot. It's very exciting.
Just the byline underneath the movie is like, heaven? Fuck that!
Yeah.
that's the tagline.
Of all the-
No, and remember that that part was even kind of scary as a kid. So that was like one of those movies as a kid, like one of the first time like they present like the inevitability of death, and you're just watching. There's that part where he has the nightmare of like where like demon cats are jumping on him and biting him. Like what the fuck? It just
Yeah.
like, really freaked you out when you were a kid the first time you see that.
Yeah.
No, I think the number one cartoon that freaked me out the worst when I was a kid, when I was an absolute child, was the Heffalumps and Woozle song from Winnie the Pooh. The very
That
first.
was fucking weird.
Right?
I just forgot about that too. You remember?
Yeah,
It's like
I was gonna say,
Yes!
that didn't cross my mind
elephants
at all.
on parade. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, it was the Heffalumps and Woozles, the Heffalumps and Woozles, and it was like this weird dancing, morphed out elephants and weasels and shit. And
And
I remember being a kid, like I didn't like that. I was like, this is not Winnie the Pooh. I don't know what's going on
that
here.
had they had to be doing like how'd that even fit in? Like did Winnie the Pooh drop acid or what happened right there?
Well, it was Winnie the Pooh like went under the bed. He was chasing the Heffalumps and the Woozles, and he went under the bed because they took his honey, and he wound up in this weird
That
under
really
the bed world.
I'm assuming there's a part where you dropped some acid before this all
Right?
happened.
Like
because
that-
that's
yeah.
the only
Drop some
logical. Yeah.
Something happens, right? It's always that way. I don't know, but I remember that creeped me out when I was little. I was like, uh-oh.
Back on creepy stuff though. What's your favorite horror film?
Yeah.
Probably
We go from horror to Disney, but whatever.
kind of the same thing. But there's like two that I like a lot. I don't know if they're my all-time favorites, or I probably even have a couple of them. But Dawn of the Dead, the '70s one, not the 2000s one.
I'm
Yeah.
there
I
with
that
you.
one.
I'm
I
there
like
with
that one a lot. Evil Dead, all three of them. Especially the first one, but I actually come to appreciate all three of them pretty damn equally. And then we mentioned The Shining. That's one of my other favorite ones.
Yeah.
Probably can think of more. I'm trying to think. Like in my mind right now, my DVD rack is racing through my head. Like, what do you like? Out of this, I know you own all these, but which ones do you like the most? But those are like some of the ones I can think of. Like, they're probably my favorites.
I'm not gonna lie, not to be a kiss ass, but generally those are some of my favorite horror films too.
Well, they're just that good.
It's just kind of like you can't go wrong with any of those horror films. I only have really one complaint about Dawn of the Dead. It's not even so much of a complaint because it's still entertaining in some aspect.
Yeah.
But there's the part where the black dude's about to commit suicide and they're playing the sad music, like it's inevitable he's about to put the gun to his head. And then he stops the last minute. There's a happy keyboard. He just starts like firing it. Like it's just like he was gonna commit suicide. Then all of a sudden,
Like,
just
fuck it.
and then he just like the jump.
And
just
then that All Dogs to the Heaven came thing. Heaven? Fuck that.
exactly. Well, no, it was just one of those things. I'm not complaining. I'm glad he makes it. That's like that is one of my favorite. That is probably my favorite zombie movie, really.
Well, I like is
But-
the ending. It's like the two main characters can pretty much get away, which that was the only downfall. Like Dawn of the Dead 1 is that like, oh, we survived this. The black guys still ain't gonna survive. Man, that's good. Somebody made a movie with the black guys don't want to survive. Oh no, a bunch of rednecks showed up. I guess you can't escape that. What's worse than like a pack full of zombies to a black guy? A bunch of rednecks.
Maybe that's what the movie was trying to say. No, because I love the original one too. I don't care for that ending, but I do love.
Well,
the
Night of the
original.
Living Dead, the original one, the '60s one, is one of the best movies too. Because that movie, like,
Yeah.
the acting in that movie is so good.
Mhm.
Like they always call it like a B movie. It's like that's not a fucking B movie. That is like grade A horror entertainment. The drama's good, the acting is good in it, all the violence is great in it.
I feel like horror movies, it's really hard for horror movies, even when they are great acting, to be considered like,
Yeah.
a great movie. It's like just because they're a horror movie, I feel like people always kind of put them on the second shelf.
Well, there's always two
Like
genres.
immediately.
Or there's actually about three genres, but I always feel that the two that get the most shaft are comedies and horrors,
Yeah.
and then the other one's action movies. Those two, because they always judge them against the drama.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And it's like, yeah, well, yeah, in the long run, of course, drama's always going to win.
But it's like one of those ones like you get something different out of each one of these movies.
Yeah.
Like a drama, you're gonna get this long story. It's gonna have these characters that you're gonna delve into. But like in an action movie, you're there to see the action. That's what you're seeing. You're there to see stunts, explosions, violence, and how it happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In a comedy, you're there to laugh. That's your whole main purpose. The story's still important, but that's what you're there for. And then a horror movie, it's supposed to be, scary or
Yeah, you're
violent or
going to-
gory. One or the
yeah.
other. I mean, or all three.
Yeah, we're all three if you want.
Yeah, whatever the fuck you want.
I like them. I like the movies that mess with your brain that have all sorts of twists and turns in them, rather than the movies that are a lot of blood. I don't mind seeing blood. Like not one of those things like I'm squeamish or anything. I just don't like the movies that blatantly are just like, oh, we're gonna scalp somebody. 'Cause to me, I'm just like, ew.
I don't. I cut you off. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you can go for it.
I don't really care. I'm kind of with you on that one. Like, I mean, I don't mind lots of violence. I don't mind a little bit of gore here and there. I just don't like it when that's the primary focus of a
Yeah.
movie. I don't like it when it's just like generally torture porn for like an
Yeah.
hour and a half. I mean, I know there's some movies that actually have a story to tell within that, and they try and use that as just, I guess, to help sell tickets. But
To
I
make
know,
more
overall,
money.
that particular genre is not exactly my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, those movies are like there was ones like they can be totally hit or miss. Because the one movie I really like is Hostel. I like that one a lot by Eli Roth. But then that you can get some other movies out there too that it's all how you do it, and it's like it's a very fine line, and it doesn't take very
Yeah.
much to cross it.
No, not at all.
Didn't they call it a Hostile video game not long ago?
Did they?
Maybe I'm thinking. No, I'm thinking Saw. Never mind.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. They came out
Yeah,
with
it
a
came a Saw
Resident.
game.
They came out with a Resident Evil 6.
Yeah, I have it.
It shocked me one little bit.
I got.
I
Well,
saw
got
the
day two,
preview for that. I don't
actually.
have TV, so when I actually get access to TV, it's very exciting to see what new things are out in the world. And I saw that, and I immediately thought of you. I'm not gonna lie,
I
you and
know what
RJ.
Spencer's doing.
First
Yeah.
two people that popped in my head. I was like, oh, I bet they already got it.
Yeah. It's what connects us, me and RJ.
Yeah.
It's Resident Evil more than
Yeah.
anything else. It's like that. There's that little inner link.
God, those movies though.
Now the movies are like completely different ball parts.
I
there.
love Mila Jovovich. I absolutely love her. I think she's gorgeous, and I think she's a great actress. I'm really sick and tired of her in that role though.
You know, I will say
Like-
this though. You probably haven't seen the new Resident Evil one.
The last one I saw.
The one that just came out like a month ago.
Yeah, no, because
But
the
that
last one I saw,
actually is
Brett
not
dragged me
too
to.
bad because like the last couple ones have been just kind of like okay. Well, actually, no, I take it back. The one previous to it was actually a lot better than like it's 2 and 3 were the ones that weren't very good. But this last one is actually a pretty good movie. I will have to say.
Yeah.
I said it once on this podcast earlier when we talked about it when it came out. But no, I was actually pretty impressed because I kind of went there. I was like, I'm just gonna see it to see it. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeah.
And I actually came out. I was like, you know what? That was actually a pretty good movie. He actually felt he got his act together pretty well there, Paul W.S. Anderson.
Oh, that's good then. Yeah, because I remember the last one I went and saw was when she was figuring out, and apparently she had like mental powers, I guess.
Yeah. It was,
Something was going on with
once they
that.
strip those away from her, then everything becomes better.
Yeah, that whole thing, because that was the one Brett, when I was living with Brett in the Bay Area, Brett Benkula dragged me to that. I was like,
How is Brett?
he's having a kid.
Oh,
Wow.
damn.
Times
Times
or
change.
had a kid. I believe he has a daughter now.
Wow, we have a podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, he found himself a girl. Found himself a girl, settled down. I guess they're engaged to be married and just had a kid. So
Well, good for them.
yeah. So congratulations, Brett.
I haven't seen Brett since high school.
I know. I feel bad. Well, I see him here and there, but I haven't seen him in quite some time.
Yeah, last time I saw him, it was not a good night. I had to go pick him up.
Oh.
Poor Brett.
Yeah, that's all I'll say on that.
Well, I guess on
But-
a lighter note.
Back to something that everybody else is gonna know what we're talking about.
Yeah. That's, all those names mean nothing to the people.
So
who
Ryan, what
listen.
about you in horror movies other than the ones I mentioned? Do you have any other ones you like?
I guess. Well, this is more science fiction. Alien
Ooh.
1 and 2.
Yeah, Alien and Aliens.
Oh, Predator! I was such a predator.
Predator.
Yeah, see, right. I was such
Predator.
a predator kid. Oh,
Predator defined my life. That was one of the 2 main movies. I just want to say this quickly. Predator and Top Gun were like the 2 movies I watched so much as a kid.
yeah, I love Predator. Actually, and Top Gun is actually one of the very few Tom Cruise movies I can actually handle. There's like maybe 3 Tom Cruise movies in the world that I can handle. I am not a huge fan of his.
I love the Tom. But what were you gonna say, Ryan?
Well, I was going to say something else, but I want to say something about Predator real quick. I love Predator. I mean, I don't really care for Predator 2 that much. Predator 1
Yeah.
and Predators, fucking
Yeah.
sick. But but going back on Predator 1 for a second, it's just kind of, this part just, I find this kind of funny because, like, we got the most badass team. We got this Indian guy named Billy. He's totally scary. We got Jesse Ventura. We got Arnold. You know, just this
We
whole...
got the guy that wrote Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, that's like the one thing. You got this whole team just pure badasses. You got the one nerdy guy with glasses.
Steve
Like,
Black.
yeah, what'd you do? I wrote Lethal Weapon.
God.
All 4 of them. So we've only wrote 1 so far.
Yeah. He just kind of like, 'cause, you know, he's the one guy. He's like, oh, what's going on? Like, you know, Billy, you're scared of no man. It's like, that's not a man. So that's just like, Well, like, what the fuck's that guy doing there? You
Well, it's
know?
kind of funny because like they send him down there, like go down there and revise that script, okay? And then when he gets down there, it's like, well, you're already here. Might as well start acting.
Yeah, might as well test out your acting
Oh,
skills.
you've been in a couple movies before. Perfect. We got a character for you.
Was he one of the writers in that movie?
No, he was. He was sent down there to revise it, but then he just ended up acting.
Funny how that works.
They liked his acting better than his writing, apparently.
Well, he wrote Lethal Weapon, the first one.
Oh.
He wrote actually all of them, I think, but he wrote a bunch of those action movies in the late '80s, like early '90s.
Nice.
Truth be told, even though I know it can be considered horror, I always thought of Predator more as a action film than a horror film.
Yeah.
Well, it's supposed to be. It's a 3-genre film. It's an
Yeah.
action film, it's a sci-fi film, and it's a horror movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all that. I'm not going to deny that, but it
But
always
it's
came
more probably action than anything else. I have
Yeah.
my sci-fi selection actually.
same here. I guess
I did-
another. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I did like also, I'm not gonna lie, I like Predator vs. Alien just because I really liked watching Predator kick aliens ass.
There's some cool scenes in that movie. I'm not trying to say like you're wrong. I just,
Oh
I
no,
just
it
couldn't
was,
get into it.
yeah, oh no, like the acting and like the actual human beings in that movie weren't that great.
Plus,
I'll fully admit that, and some of the plot line was a little far stretching. But beyond that, it was mostly I totally just watched it just to watch Alien die because I'm not a fan of Alien.
I like Alien and Aliens. I don't
Have
know.
you
I
ever
just
seen
like,
Aliens?
Yeah, and they,
Oh, yeah.
Hey, that's just I don't know. It's just such a. That's like I think those are like two of the best. I mean, well, Aliens, Alien, really good movie. Aliens,
It's like amazing.
that's one of the best science fiction movies ever made, in my opinion.
yeah, like that rivals like Blade Runner.
Yeah, which is on my list. But
which is on the list.
but yeah, Aliens are like, oh my god, that is just one of those movies. It's like, I'm pissed off myself. I didn't see that movie sooner.
Well, yeah, when did you see that movie originally?
Like 2 years ago.
Holy crap!
Wow,
I saw that movie when I was
yeah.
like, I had this like VHS
I was gonna say that
copy
because that
was,
movie
like,
scared me when I was younger, and I'm pretty sure that's why I don't like it. I don't like dislike aliens as in the species of, but those particular
xenomorphs.
aliens with their little the little thingy that comes out of their mouth and the way they like attack your face and bust out your chest. Not a huge fan of them.
Check out Prometheus. That's pretty good. A lot of people are talking shit on it. There's things you can make fun of it about, but overall, good movie.
I really like
Is
it.
that the recent one that came
Yeah.
out? Okay, yeah, that looked like it was pretty creepy. I'm not gonna lie.
It's very sci-fi, but I really enjoyed it.
The horror aspect comes in kind of later in the movie. It's not nearly as creepy as Alien or Aliens. It's about you know, an alien when they go down and there's the it's not the xenomorph alien, but there's that dead alien in the chair
Okay.
that has the chest burst.
Yeah.
It's about those creatures. It's about those.
Oh,
So
interesting.
check that one out when you get a chance. Really good movie. But horror films though.
What if
for
they
me-
made a movie really quickly that was it was Decker from Blade Runner, but he was killing aliens.
That would be one of the greatest fucking movies ever made. Want to know what would be equally as awesome?
He had to go. This was his job. Is he had to go hunt aliens this time instead of androids.
That would be one of the greatest movies ever made. All right, that one, the equivalent to that would be Rambo versus Predator.
That'd be pretty cool. But
yeah.
Rambo? No,
interesting.
I'm not getting. I thought no Rambo.
sorry,
versus
no, I have like a. Well, it's like the almost doesn't seem like nearly as cool. It's like we had Arnold versus Predator. We have to find. You almost have to find something else to build up into it. Like
Yeah.
But
Maybe, like,
Rambo's made for Rambo's
maybe
made for
what
the
if you
outdoors.
just made like a movie? It was Arnold and Stallone, and they drove a spaceship back to the Predator world to go kick their asses together.
Or if you want to
Oh,
go
God.
like Rambo versus Terminator.
Yeah.
I'm just.
I guess because Rambo takes place in like real world, it kind of like throws me off.
Yeah.
I know Rambo always seems kind of over the top, but it takes place in real world situations. So it kind
Yeah.
of like,
Well, you'd see that movie. Don't fucking lie. You
well,
check
I'd,
that
I'd
movie
see
out.
anything that has Stallone and Arnold in it, but still.
Oh God.
I'm saying things I
Oh,
know
no.
it's never gonna happen. Alien in Blade Runner is never gonna happen. That sounds sick, but it's never gonna happen.
Even though it's got the
20th
same director.
20th Century Fox and Warner Brothers don't get along.
Not
so-
at all. If they just come together and make movies that people will really want to see.
I guess it's a possibility because Touchstone and DreamWorks came together to make the new Lincoln movie, and Touchstone's owned by Disney, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
But are you
Touchstone
talking about
is.
the
Because that's what
Lincoln?
Nightmare Before Christmas is a Touchstone picture. Back when Disney
Yeah.
was like, whoa, don't put our fucking name on that.
Now it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
put
we-
that-
Yeah. Now
Yeah,
it's
put that
smack
shit
it all over
everywhere.
it. Yeah.
Okay, back on horror film, I guess. I'm gonna go with. I know you don't care for this one too much, but I thought it was just very, very different. I know you'd say this spawned off a lot of bad shit, but 28 Days Later.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't mind the first one, but yes, I will say that progressing on to just the longer time periods with the exact same fucking movie.
It wasn't the same thing. It wasn't as good. The second one was just because the thing about the first one is they were a group of likable characters They were smart. It felt more like a drama that happened to take place during a zombie apocalypse. And the zombies, this
Yeah.
is like the first time you saw the zombies. They didn't treat it like they were dead. They treated it like it was an infection. Something I'd never really seen before in like that
Yeah.
kind of horror film. And I really liked it. And plus, it had that very like British indie style.
Yeah.
It seemed like the gritty camera look. I just loved everything about that movie.
I like the yeah. That's why it's like I liked 28 Days Later. It was everything else that came after that. I was like,
Which
eh.
28 weeks came out, and just
Yeah.
like the people in it weren't nearly as smart. They were just like kind of like they're kind of almost asking for like to restart the whole zombie apocalypse. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just,
Yeah. That's what movies like. I actually enjoy 28 Days Later, but I guess it's one of those ones like I prefer a more traditional, realistic zombie compared to like these. Even though I know it's a different virus, but I don't know. Like I guess the other thing is like the running zombie thing is just kind of bothering me because it just like appears like in everything nowadays. So it's like, oh,
Now all of a sudden zombies can run.
yeah, it's just like outside, it's like everywhere. Even if like I mean like that makes sense in 28 Days Later, but it doesn't make sense in a lot of other movies. They just
thanks a lot, Danny Boyle.
yeah, well, it's one of those ones like it works for like his thing, but like when other people throw it in there, it's like no, can't we just have regular zombies?
I guess because generally most of my favorite horror films are the same as yours. 28 Days Later, Aliens. I'm having trouble naming off other things that were I think kind of like rival that as much.
Yeah, well, it's like I mean, there's always so many of them. I mean, like I always like I like the Nightmare Before Night Before
Nightmare Before
Nightmare
Elm
on
Street.
Elm Street. There
Oh,
you go. I can't say
God.
those two together at the same time.
Yeah, that was hard
the
for you,
Friday the
wasn't it?
13th are always good. I always like the Halloween movies a lot. I thought
Yeah.
the Rob Zombie ones were like a really good remake.
Here you go. Jack Skellington versus Freddy Krueger.
So you could have that.
My money is on Jack Skellington.
It would.
Yes. I hate Freddy Krueger. Are you kidding me? I can't stand that goddamn man.
Well, why don't we go to a different one? Let's go to drama. What's like if you got to pick a drama?
Drama.
I don't watch drama.
My favorite drama would have to be Pulp Fiction. I know it's a very
Ooh.
generic answer, but Pulp Fiction
Pulp Fiction's good.
probably my
Yeah.
second favorite movie.
Pulp Fiction's
Uh,
pretty fucking sweet.
The Wrestler. Really love The Wrestler.
Never saw that one.
Darren Aronofsky's one of my favorite directors.
I like Taxi Driver a lot.
Taxi Drivers. I love Taxi Driver.
And if I can go on other Robert De Niro movies, I really like The Deer Hunter.
Yeah. Mean Streets was really awesome. We love more Martin Scorsese. I noticed a lot of early Scorsese flicks. They're all kind of the same story. Not Taxi Driver, but a lot of like Mean Streets. Some Who's Knocking at My Door.
Well, I just noticed he kind of goes in patterns because in the next pattern movies he did is Goodfellas, Raging Bull, and Casino are all kind of the same movie, same characters, different setting.
Same actor, really. And
Just
those three.
same actors too. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I was
everything's the
gonna
same.
Yeah, oh god, dramas. I don't really know. I really don't watch a lot of dramas.
Malcolm X is of course amazing.
I watched it again
American
last
History X, I'd say that's a drama that I actually do really like.
You like that one?
I do. I really
that
like
was
that
those
movie
movies
for some reason. It makes me really angry at like certain points, and there's definitely certain times I can't watch. I definitely have to look away on certain things, but I don't know. I like that movie for some reason.
night. I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast. Is that where you like? Is that where I bitched about this movie?
We
With all my like
came up-
all
we
my
came up-
problems I had of.
We mentioned it on. We were talking about Batman and one of the writers, which I was wrong. It wasn't the writer of American History X who wrote for the Batman Gotham Knight. It was someone else, but it was History of Violence.
That's
but,
okay. There was like 6 writers. You're bound to get something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah.
No, yeah. So it's like I swear like there was just a lot of like loopholes I thought in that movie.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was a really interesting movie, and I really liked the way they filmed it. In all honesty, I think what intrigued me the most is how all his flashbacks were in black and white, and then all his current stuff was in color. And I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
I think it's an interesting concept. It was not. I didn't really find it a bad movie.
No, it wasn't a bad movie. I just didn't think it was amazing. I guess that's about my only thing.
But
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, like this is because dramas.
we're not trying to shoot you down. Like you're
I
wrong,
know, God,
Nora.
my
Pick
movies-
something else.
Everybody hates my movies. Oh
The
jeez.
movie I like a
I'd
lot
say no.
though is Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire's really good.
That's a really good one.
I've only seen it like twice, and I keep falling asleep in the middle of it.
No.
So I'm
I
not
really
gonna
like
lie.
Cameron Crowe. That's one of my favorite directors.
That's my problem with dramas. Is I'm always falling asleep.
Singles is really good. That's almost kind of like a dramatic comedy. But
Yeah,
Singles. is a
Singles.
good
That's
movie.
actually probably my favorite Cameron Crowe movie is Singles.
I never even heard of that one.
It's like pretty much it's 1991. I actually think it's supposed to be kind of almost like 1989, even though I know the movie came out like 92. But it just feels a little bit older
Yeah.
in a sense. Seattle, so like that kind of grunge rock period
Yeah, I was gonna
slash
say.
like turn of the 90s.
You see a lot of grunge rock cameos in there. Like Chris Cornell comes out in the scene.
Oh,
Alice
gosh,
in
it's
Chains
really-
is in it. Eddie Vedder's in it.
Eddie Vedder's in the diner with him in that one part.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I guess it's all the bands really in it.
The
But,
bands they show. There's probably like more obscure '90s bands that never made it out of like the beginning of the Seattle scene.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, I was gonna
But
say.
it's a pretty cool one. That's the same guy. He also did Fast Times at Ridgemont High,
I love that movie.
and then
Would you call that? No, you wouldn't really call that a drama.
I call that a drama. That's actually those movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It's actually
it
pretty
kind of.
dramatic. It actually has
Yeah,
less comedy than it does
it's-
actually drama.
It's advertised as a comedy, but really
Yeah,
is.
but it
yeah,
does.
it's
I was
always
gonna.
advertised.
Yeah, because that's one of the. That's how you can always tell when people have never actually seen that movie is when they really do just think it's a comedy. You're like, well, there's actually a lot in it that's pretty serious.
Release
like,
Spicoli's just the comic relief, is what that movie is, and everything else is
Yes.
dramatic.
Whenever I hear the name Spicoli, I just think ice cream for whatever reason. I don't know. It just sounds like a weird Italian ice cream to me. Spicoli. Yeah, that's a Spicoli. Man. No, but one of my other favorite dramas, Breakfast Club.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, that's
That's-
another one that's usually most oftentimes advertised as more of a comedy than it really
And
is.
that's more of a drama. That,
Yeah,
the thing about that, it just has such good writing and dialogue and acting.
Yeah.
And that's really all the movie is, but it's just like that's what makes it amazing.
I do love that movie.
Chasing Amy, which is more of a dramatic comedy, but
Yes,
that's an
I
amazing movie.
love that movie.
Mhm.
That's one of the very. Oh, I love that movie. Joey Lauren Adams. I love
Yeah.
her.
She's kind
love
of
her.
disappeared.
Which makes me so sad because I
Yeah.
loved her because I loved her in that. I loved her in Biodome.
I love Biodome.
I just love her. I don't know, and she's just such a distinct voice to me too.
I think what happened because like she looks a lot like Renelle Zellweger, so I think it's
Yeah.
those Highlander things. There could be only one or something like that. So
Yeah.
they didn't do
Yeah,
it
I was
to
gonna say yeah,
death,
because she
and-
does look a lot like her. Because Tavana used to get her mixed up. She's like, "Isn't that Renee Zellweger?" I'm like, "Well, listen to
No.
the voice.
Yeah, the voice is what
The
makes
voice is
it.
very distinctive."
Kevin Smith because he actually dated her for a little while.
Oh, that does not shock me one little bit.
And he said that, like because he was friends with Harvey Weinstein, and he's like. Sometimes like Harvey Weinstein would get her confused with Renee Zellweger, and there's a few times he actually called her Renee by accident.
Oh god.
So one time she called him all drunk, like changing her voice, like Harvey, we have your bitch Renee. Hangs up. So,
That's funny.
That was
That
pretty
is
good.
amazing. Oh god. I love that movie too, Chasing Amy.
Have you ever seen the movie Amelie?
that's a good
Mm-mm.
movie.
That's a really good one. It's a French
Amelie?
movie.
Ah.
You don't. Let me put it this way: it's kind of like you don't call it a romance, you don't call it a drama, you just call it French.
Ah,
That's
ooh,
what he defines
yes.
French.
Yeah, it's like a drama, but it's
Is it
kinda
really
like,
sad that I kind of understand what that
it's
means?
kind of quirky. I don't know. It's really
Like
hard for me
just
to
the
kind of
name?
describe. It's kind of like I guess it's semi-romance movie is really what it gets down to.
When you
There's-
think French, this is the definition.
It really is definitive French.
Yeah,
It's
that's
from
why-
the same director that did Alien 4.
But you wouldn't think that. But yeah,
I was gonna say that's quite a change.
in Gothica, right?
Did he do that?
He may have done Gothica. I don't remember.
That was with Halle Berry.
Oh wait, no, the guy that starred in Amelie, the love interest in Amelie, that guy directed Gothica. Never mind.
Ah.
Oh.
So yeah.
Boy, I'm glad we got that settled.
It was gonna keep me awake at night.
I
So
was gonna bother you all night for the
Yeah.
rest of the night. What's another good genre?
Action. That's my favorite genre.
Yeah, there's lots of good action movies.
Action movies. Maybe I like action movies is because I always feel like as much I always like a good drama, but an action movie is one of those kind of movies you can watch that over and over.
Yeah,
and
I
over
was gonna say
again.
I watch them frequently.
Action and comedy movies are the two movies you can actually watch the most.
Yeah.
Horror movies, even though as good as they are, you can only watch those actually only so many times too because it's kind of like I don't know. Horror movies are always the best the first time you watch them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I was gonna say horror movies. It's usually I like to watch them, but yeah, they're usually better the first time around. There's some that aren't necessarily. I wouldn't necessarily call it a horror movie, like Sleepy Hollow. Some of those movies, I know exactly what's gonna happen in just about every single scene, but for some reason, I still love that movie.
Yeah, that movie can
And
get away with it.
That's another one actually that reminded me because it has Christopher Walken in it, one of the creepiest roles I've ever
Oh,
seen
yeah,
in my
it does.
entire
Those
life.
filed teeth.
Yeah, and the first time we watched that, and my roommate had never seen it. It's due to her unfortunate upbringing that she wasn't allowed to watch movies like that.
Super
So
religious household.
J Dubs.
Uh,
Yeah, she is a J Dub. So she
J-Dub.
Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
You kids and your fancy
Lingo.
Jehovah's Witness lingo.
yeah, no, yeah, I ain't one. But that's what she grew up as, so she couldn't watch those movies when she was younger. So she sees them a lot more now living with me, and I was like, oh yeah, like Christopher Walken's in it. She's like, oh yeah, like she's thinking like funny Christopher Walken's, and she sees him, she goes, oh, I'm like yeah, this is probably the scariest role I think I've ever seen him. Cause he's got like the super filed down teeth and stuff, and oh god, yeah, it's
He's dressed like Marilyn Manson.
yeah, and it's really creepy. It's a really creepy role, but I love it.
Well, it's funny because Christopher Walken, he's never one of those many actors that like as they get old in their life, they get known as comedian actors, and it's kind of like you forget that like
He did some serious shit.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
like
especially if you
Deer
watch
Hunter?
Deer Hunter, that's like
Yeah.
as serious as it gets for Christopher.
yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of actors that are like that.
He was also a Bond villain
That's right.
in A View to a Kill.
Oh god, I totally forgot about that. So
But,
let's see, action movies. Well, you have to kind of pick a time period too for action movies because I love a lot of action movies nowadays simply because we have the cool graphics. So things like Transformers and stuff, shit looks sick. It's simply because we have the cool graphics that we do. But then it's like you got the legit action movies
Well, because
from like
that's one
back
thing is
when.
nowadays it's like just because of all the laws and all the lawsuits and all that stuff,
Yeah,
you
and all
can't
sorts
really
of
get
precautions that you have to take and make sure that the guys stay pretty looking. That it's like, yeah, you can't.
you don't get the good stunts that you used to be able to
Yeah,
get. You know,
you don't get
you
as
don't
many.
get Jackie Chan like actually running
Yeah.
from a house that is actually blowing up behind him.
Yeah, you don't get. Yeah, you don't get a lot of people that actually do their own stunts anymore, which is kind of a bummer.
Jackie Chan's coming out with a movie. I think it's called Zodiac or something. Or in
Huh.
the trailer, he's directing it and starring in it and all that. They just
So I'm
showed.
taking it has nothing to do with Zodiac Killer.
No, I think it's
Ah.
called Zodiac or Chinese Zodiac. I don't remember what exactly, but it was like he was like going down like he was chasing a car and he's like in this suit made of like like kind of like wheels. Like he'd be like sliding down.
Interesting.
He's like in this suit. He's like he has his arms forward, his legs out. He's like racing on his knees, and he just on his side. He's rolling on the side of like of a truck, hanging underneath, and just rolling around, just chasing this car, and eventually goes off a cliff and catches onto a helicopter.
Well, that's
That's
magical.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
So Jackie Chan's still trying to hold on to that.
Well, the one thing nowadays is we don't really have action stars too much anymore. There's not very
Yeah,
many of them. So
no.
like a lot of all the older guys are still making a lot of pretty good action movies.
Well, yeah, and it's because a lot of our action guys now are superheroes now instead.
Yeah.
They're not like action guys anymore. It's like you get like the superheroes. So you get like, your Thors and your Captain Americas and your Iron Mans and stuff. And it's like those guys have done other stuff and they're not necessarily action heroes, but they're a superhero, which makes them an action hero. And then you don't actually know them as the actor, unless you're like me, but you start knowing them as just their hero character.
Which I notice a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, they'll do like one, they'll do like a superhero movie, and then they just kind of that's like their one big action thing. Aside from that, they primarily do dramas or maybe comedies or something.
Yeah.
Because
Actually-
they're mostly not even action stars in general.
Chris Hemsworth, the guy who
That's
is
the exception, yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say Chris Hemsworth, who is Thor, the
He's
love
gonna be
of
in
my
Red
life.
Dawn.
Yes, I was gonna say there's that new movie that's coming out. And he lopped off all his hair, and he still looks gorgeous. And he's playing an army boy.
He's playing Patrick Swayze pretty much.
yeah, yeah.
He's cool, but he ain't the Swayze. That's
No.
all I'll say.
I'm excited to see it. I don't really care. The
I'll
only thing that
check
I
it
think
out,
is
too.
weird is it has Josh Peck in it. And if anybody was a Nickelodeon kid, that kid used to be like
Who was he in Nickelodeon?
he was on Drake and Josh, and he was a
Oh.
little fat kid.
Oh, I
He used to
never
be
watched it.
fat. Well, because the last time I watched Nickelodeon is when that first started, so they were like 12.
In that,
They did that show up until they were like 16 or 17 years old, but
Yeah, I've
the
heard
only
of that
time I
show.
really saw it is when they were younger, and he was a fat kid. And then he did a movie called The Whackness, and I love the movie The Whackness. I really do. It's got one of the Olsen
Ben
twins is in
Kingsley's
it.
right?
Yeah, one of the Olsen twins is in it, and she's like this super high out hippie out in the middle of the Central Park.
I need to check that one out.
It's
Interesting. Let's
awesome.
take child care like actors and make it.
Well, and it was a really cool movie because what it is The Whackness is this kid who's played by Josh Peck. He's a pot dealer, and he covers it up by he rents an ice cream stand. It says ice cream and stuff on it. It's the whole legit thing, and he wheels it around so he looks like he's just selling ice cream, hangs his radio on it, but he's actually selling pot out of it.
It takes place in the
And-
early 90s, right?
Yeah. It takes place in like 94, I'd say, 94, 95, something like that. And he ends up having to go see a therapist. Well, he falls in love with the therapist's stepdaughter, and then he becomes his therapist's pot dealer. So it kind of makes things a little complicated for him. And it's like he's like 16 years old and he's in love with this girl and stuff. And I don't know, it's a really cool movie. I really like the movie.
I want to check that one out.
Yeah,
understand.
and it's called The
Our-
Whackness.
Our good friend Wes suggested that movie to me.
Yeah, did he? I've
Did
heard
he?
of it
Oh, okay.
somewhere. I can't remember where. But
Yeah, the first time I saw it, it was like one of those movies that was just randomly on in the middle of the night. I was staying at my parents' house who have fancy TV, and they got like all the movie channels. And I saw it, and I was like, that name sounds like weird. I was like, that kind of sounds interesting. So I hit info on it, and I saw that Josh Peck was in it, and I was like, oh, I'll give it a shot. And I started watching, and I just fell in love with it. The music is awesome. music is great because it's about no, I guess it would be more like mid '90s because it was around the time like Tupac and Biggie were leaving and making it kind of bigger in New York,
Oh, all right.
and they started getting that kind of stuff, and that's what he listens to a lot is good rap. Actually, I rarely say that in my life, but good rap.
I'm not much of a rap guy, but I'll say I prefer '90s rap over like a lot of the current shit, like all that clubbing bullshit. You know,
Yeah, that's why because
Malibu Cowboy and Pineapple Joe. What that fucking song is.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
that's the caribou. Those are delicious.
But you know what? Yeah,
I
I
had
hate
to
that
try
fucking
one just on
song,
principle.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the song is really annoying. And it's Tech Nine. I do like some of Tech Nine's stuff, but the stuff that he gets famous for is usually the stupid stuff. It's it's because it's the party
Yeah.
music, it's the club music, that's the stuff that gets popular, and it's kind of a bummer for rappers, and that's where I feel bad for rappers. There's like Eminem, and he's one of those that it's like, and it's you hear it in like the movie The 8 Mile when you see his
Yeah.
movie, and it's like the rap that he does in his own personal life and the stuff that's like on his underground CDs and stuff, that shit's good. Like it's really good and it's like really kind of heart-wrenching the stuff that he says, but the stuff that he gets famous for is stupid shit.
That's the way it usually works. You,
Like it bothers me because then that's like parents hate this guy, they hate this man for all the rap that he's done. Oh, he's a horrible influence on my child. It's like a lot of the stuff, if they were to listen to a lot of his underground stuff, I think they would be more appreciative of it because it's actually like him telling the true stories of all the shit that he went through in his life and what he would do to change it.
Well, that underground stuff, that's what Marilyn Manson picked him up for, put him on his label.
Yeah, the good shit, and then he gets famous for stupid crap like running around and being an idiot and calling himself Slim Shady.
yeah, that's just
Which is
the
a
way it usually works.
bummer.
You're usually more famous for like the more mainstream stuff. I'm not trying to sound like a total the mainstream man, but it's the mainstream stuff you usually get more famous for. And it always kind of
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, and it usually always sucks.
Because you're appealing to, like, the 1/4 of
The
the
masses,
retards.
yeah, you're trying to appeal to the masses instead. So it means you gotta dumb it down just a wee bit. It works the same with movies though, because there's
No,
some
yeah,
movies
the
that it's
popular
like,
movies are the movies that aren't nearly as intelligent.
yeah, that make you kind of sad. I really do want to go see the movie Pitch Perfect though. It's the new one that came out with singing
Is that the one
involved.
called Pitch Slap?
I think it's a tagline. We
Oh.
got that wrong last time. We thought the movie was called Pitch Slap, but that's just the tagline of the movie.
Oh god, no! It's called. It's a movie called Pitch Perfect, and I really want to go see it. And I'm really hoping that the previews aren't the only funny parts, because it's got the fat English chick in it. I shouldn't say that because she's slendered down a little bit more. Her
The
name's
Husky.
her name's Rebel, which is pretty fucking sweet. And she was in Bridesmaid, and she plays the main character's roommate's sister. And
I saw Bridesmaid in theaters. I don't know if I remember that.
she was the English chick that got the tattoo of the tequila one.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that's her. And
Oh.
she's like, it's an ancient Native American symbol for let's get wasted. But she's in it, and she plays a character named Fat Amy. And I want to see it so bad. And there's actually some like other legit good singing involved, and they start singing like mid '90s music. And I think that's what kind of intrigued me. I was like,
Oh,
oh,
that's
finally a musical that's like
if there's 90s involved, it might be somewhat.
somewhat
decent.
decent. Yeah, bringing back '90s music always makes it somewhat decent. And I kind of want to see that. That's one of the recent ones that's coming out.
There's quite a bit coming out. One of my all-time favorite action movies, and this is also because of recent stuff coming out though, but it's all the Bond films.
Oh yeah.
You like your Bond?
I love my Bond. Bond is really
Well,
like.
there's a new one coming, isn't there?
Yeah,
Skyfall.
November 13th.
Ah, there we go. Yeah, I
Like-
heard about that. I knew it was coming.
So yeah, the Bond movies have always come out around my birthday, pretty much. So
Oh, you lucked out, and you lucked out because you graduated in the year of 007.
I know 007.
That
Everything's
was
Bond
pretty
oriented for me.
sweet that we did get that for our freshman year. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's pretty
We
cool.
really lucked out in that draw.
So Bond is always my favorite. I like anything Bond. There's not a Bond movie I don't care for.
What was the second one of the new ones?
The
Quantum of
Quantum of
Solace.
Solace.
Yeah, I wasn't. a
That's
huge-
my probably my least favorite Bond
Yeah, I
movie
was
of them
gonna say
all.
it wasn't necessarily a bad movie, but to me it wasn't a Bond movie.
Yeah, that's how I felt
Yeah.
too. Like,
That's all I could say the entire time I was watching it. Is like my dad was saying the same things. My dad's a huge Bond fan, and we both were just kind of like, it wasn't like a bad movie, but it wasn't a Bond movie.
well,
too
to
much
me,
action.
Yeah, the thing about this, like that one, is like it's really trying to appeal to like non-Bond fans. And that's the number one thing that drives me up the wall for any kind of. I don't care
Yeah.
what it is.
If you
When-
have a good fan base, just stick with your
Well,
fan base.
when it comes down to it, really, it's appeal to your fans first and foremost.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
the people that really drive everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because your
don't.
fans are the people that are gonna not only buy your movies, they're gonna buy all the shit related to it. as
Yeah, all the
like-
merchandising that goes
Yeah.
along with it.
and and they're gonna see the movies multiple times anyway, so you better make a really good movie for them.
Yeah.
And just look at the casual audience is like, you just be glad they showed up.
Yeah. What other action movies for you guys?
Movies I like a lot. Anything Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's my all-time favorite actor. So every Arnold movie is I like all those. Anything Stallone mostly, just about. Stallone has a couple like
Terminator
half-ass movies, but
movies. Yeah.
The Rambos are amazing.
yeah,
There's no such thing as a bad
Stallone.
Rambo.
Let's see, with Arnold, mostly pretty much almost all his movies are really good in my opinion. But
Uh-huh.
Stallone has a couple of movies out there. They're just kind of like, it could be a little better. But most of his movies, Rambo, Rocky,
I think
like
ironic.
Tango, and
I cut you off. Go ahead.
you continue on.
Tango and Cash, you're saying?
That was where I was gonna end at.
I think ironically, Rambo 4, I think that's the second best of the Rambo movies. I know a lot of people disagree with me on that, but that one was just so fucking raw.
I don't think that many people disagree with you on that when you say it's the second best one.
I think, well, I've heard people say like their second favorite would be like Rambo 3 or some people First Blood actually. First Blood still is my favorite
First
one.
Blood's the best one
Yeah.
by far, but
Well, a lot of people talk shit on Stallone. Some things I understand why, but that line, that moment in the movie, because the whole movie, he maybe says like maybe 2 paragraphs in the whole film, and then you get to the very end where he just breaks down crying, and because like people say, oh, it's just mindless action. Shut the fuck up. That scene at the end is as good as any like deep artistic drama. The part where he breaks down to the colonel.
One of the saddest parts in any movies.
He's all like, he's just like, when I got back in I'm so happy. Just call me a fucking baby killer. They weren't there. They didn't know what the fuck happened. Just like, and just falls to his knees crying. Something you never see Stallone do. And it was just such an amazing scene. And I don't care what anybody says. That right there, that's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
That movie's supposed to be originally had it was like 2.5 hours long, and and Stallone said, just cut out all the dialogue that I have throughout the movie until the very end, because he actually had like regular lines throughout it.
Really?
Oh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely didn't know that.
Because most movie, I just like the fact that he's just hiding out in the woods majority of the movie, just surviving. And it's not even like, I mean, like what, one guy dies in the movie, but whatever. The movie's still just fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's actually like not many people die. There's a lot of action still though.
Yeah.
Not too much death.
That one guy falls.
that right there, that is a perfect movie in my opinion. First Blood is a perfect movie.
I would say that is definitely a perfect movie. Like, can't complain whatsoever.
I was quite an indie fan. I'm not gonna lie. The Indiana Jones and Star Wars.
Oh,
I'm a
yeah,
George
Indiana
Lucas
Jones and
fan.
Star Wars.
Those are definitely. Yeah.
What I've always said is that really the original trilogy is the best movies ever made in a broad scale. Like,
Yeah.
and pretty much whatever 4, 5, or 6, you pick whatever. It's a personal favorite from there, but they're all perfect movies. I can't.
Oh yeah.
Generally, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say those were awesome movies, and then they came out with the new ones, and you're like, kind of made me sad. So it was one of those things that was graphically they were super fucking cool because it was like we had all this cool new stuff and we could make all these really cool new aliens and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it was just kind of like, I prefer the originals.
I'm gonna go on a rant here real quickly about those ones. Here's what I think about 1, 2, and 3. Number 1, I mean, I don't think they're horrible. Like people make them out to be. People like
yeah, they weren't like horrible movies. Yeah, they weren't like horrible movies. Like they weren't a total blasphemy to the Star Wars
people dissect
trilogy.
them. People dissect them as if like George Lucas himself came to your house, fucking pissed on your face, raped you, then punched you, and walked out.
And took your wallet on the way.
Yeah, like they make it seem like
it's your dog too.
Yeah, that's why it's like the people who are like super hardcore Star Wars fans, they're like, oh my god, those were it's like blasphemy against Star Wars. It's like, not really. Like,
the main thing I always have to say really quickly on that one is that they're not your movies.
Yeah.
That's his movies. He thought them up so he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he wanted to do it. And it's like, I didn't think they were all that bad. I mean, there was definitely stuff I really liked. Mostly, I think the second one is probably my favorite one.
That one's your favorite one out of the new trilogy?
Yeah, out of the new trilogy, not out of all of them altogether.
I know what you meant.
Out of the new trilogy, I do like the second one, the Clone Wars one, or the Clones one, whatever that one was called.
I guess for me, I can kind of like break down real quickly what I think was good and bad about each one. For me, the first one, I think overall the story's fine. It's made pretty good. My big problem with it is fucking Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks is just too fucking annoying.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I mean, that's everybody's complaint.
I understand like why they brought him in. Like, he's kind of like supposed to be the comic relief.
Yeah, that's what he
But
is.
at the same time, it was like he was just so annoying.
And then they had, I mean, I'm not going to hold a grudge against this kid because I guess in the long run, his life, he's like very regretful of it, and he gets a lot of shit daily for it. But the guy that played Anakin Skywalker, Jake Lloyd, I'll be honest, he wasn't that good. I mean, granted, he was a kid actor, but at the same time,
Yeah, he was like 10.
that was Phantom Menace. That was the first movie George Lucas has wrote and directed since A New Hope. I mean, he only
Yeah.
produced and wrote everything else. That's the first movie he actually directed. So I think and that kind of shows throughout the movie, and he was maybe being a little arrogant during those. Because the thing with that is the kids, it's more the character. I mean, because I saw an interview with Jake Lloyd a little bit ago, and he was just kind of like, "So, what do you think of the? How is it? What's it feel like being like being a it was cool then, but you get so many people just coming up to you, blaming you, attacking you. It's like I was 9 years old. I was given the chance to be Darth Vader. Who wouldn't take that?
Yeah,
So
seriously. I had the chance to be the legend before he was the legend. Like,
so it's one of those things I kind of don't. I mean, even though I'll say he didn't do that good a job acting, I'm not going to hold that against him because he was a kid, and plus, I don't think George Lucas wrote the best script on that or directed the best.
yeah.
But I mean, strictly in the sense it was an entertaining movie, and my biggest problem with the movie is this: it's like we got all these people who were trained in the military. They went to flight school. They fought. They were fighting in war. They were trained soldiers. Yet this kid, I don't give a shit if he's the chosen one. This kid accidentally gets into a starfighter, accidentally pushes start and like flies off into space. Accidentally, we like once again trained fighter pilots.
Yeah.
Accidentally flies in to this evil base and destroys it while looking for the fucking steering wheel.
Exactly.
That's kind of like
Yeah.
a major plot point.
Slight flaw.
Well, it's just like that one. It's just like you can only have so much luck. I mean, you can have one lucky moment. I just don't feel like you can have multiple lucky moments in one scene.
Yeah, no.
And then the second one, there's the whole. I mean, I don't think Hayden Christensen was exactly the best choice for Anakin. There's a lot of that dry love stuff going on in that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say they definitely made it a little bit more.
Jango Fett was pretty badass.
Yeah.
And I think that for me would save that movie in the end because that's probably my no not saying you're wrong. My least favorite out of them is probably number 2. But I think for me,
I think a lot of it that got it for me was the What's Her Bucket's wardrobe. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, Natalie Portman's wardrobe was amazing.
Oh, she was
in that
hot.
one.
Yeah.
Because when they're on the little island, she has this like really pretty dress. It's like rainbow colored. I love it. And it was scenes like that. It was the more girly scenes that did get me. Like when they spend time together and they're like, because you could tell that it's like it's unfortunate to see, but from girls' perspectives, because we fall in love with Hayden Christensen, it's like we see him as like, oh, like you really did love her, and you just were really swayed in the wrong direction. Like you thought you were doing the right thing by turning into Darth Vader. You really did, and you really thought you were trying to protect the woman that you loved and stuff like that. And that's why it's like for girls we see one thing, and for boys it's totally a different perspective.
Which we come to Revenge of the Sith. That one, I'll say that's probably my favorite out of the new trilogy. My only complaint is, I mean, this same complaint for Attack of the Clones. I don't think those movies were very well made. Revenge of the Sith and Attack of the Clones, because those were all like 90% CG. Phantom Menace was still using prosthetics here and there. It was still had sets.
Well, you couldn't really prosthetically make one of those tall clone making things.
No, that's fine.
Those were the ones that I liked a lot. Just the way they walked and everything.
Oh,
they were like all super like graceful and like really, really tall and lanky. And they spoke very nice and very calm. And I really liked that character.
I understand that stuff. It's more of just kind of like, you know, there's not one actual real clone. All the clones are like CG.
Yeah, they're just a bunch of because it was like they did. It was like Tim Burton did in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the remake. The sad,
He was just one fucker.
sad remake. It was that really ugly guy who, if you also notice and watch Transformers 2, he's the Border Patrol guy in Transformers 2.
Oh, he was, wasn't he?
Yeah, and it's just him. And I'm not gonna lie. I mean, props.
We got an Oompa Loompa patrolling the border.
Yeah, like I mean, props to the guy and all.
Fuck Egypt.
Well, it's like props to the guy, congratulations. He's, a little person, got a good role, and he's been making good money, but he is a really ugly individual. And that was my favorite things about the Oompa Loompas in reality. And like the other one, the good fucking Willy Wonka, is they were all individual people and they were all adorable.
Yeah,
and it was like,
real
because it looked more realistic because they were actually there dancing, whereas they didn't even bother to try and cast that many people. And it's like, how many little people could you give it a job just by redoing that movie?
Well, I always wondered like whatever happened to all the little people because like they don't like I don't know if they just decided, like, fuck it, we're not making movies for you guys anymore. We're just a laughing stock.
Right,
Like,
I
I don't
kind
know
of
if that
feel
was it,
bad.
Or CG replaced them.
Well, yeah, or CG replacement
Yeah.
because the thing is, like, in like forever, there used to always be like, I mean, you could get all kinds of these guys to be
now
in movies.
they do
and-
like secondhand stuff for like all the Lord of the Rings movies. They were stand-in doubles.
Well, yeah, it's like
and
now,
stuff
now
like
there's a
that.
movie, Lord of the Rings. You think this movie's like, oh, it stars 4 short guys. That's perfect for us. Oh no, we're just gonna get some regular actors, and with movie magic, we'll make them look.
Yeah, we'll make them look like small guys, and we'll bring in the small guys for other things, but we
And they'll
won't
make
them.
him. So
Oh,
they'll
you-
make him kneel when the camera's like chest level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because they haven't, as far as actual like little people being able to be seen on camera again. I'd pretty much say, yeah, probably Willy Wonka was really the last one. You got to see like
Oh, the
individual.
Willow. Did you ever see
Oh,
that one by
no.
George Lucas's one?
I don't think so.
He wrote it, produced it, and that was directed by Ron Howard, right?
Yeah, and
Ooh.
that one has like I think it actually had at least the time had like the record as like the biggest cast of little people. And the main character is
The guy that the guy he was like in the there's the main Ewok in Return of the Jedi, the guy that was in that suit.
yeah, he's the main
I love
character
the
of
Ewoks.
this.
Yeah.
I
And
love
it's got
the
Val
Ewoks.
Kilmer in it too.
Oh,
Matt
great.
Mortigan.
Yeah, he's just like this.
I'm not
Like,
gonna lie, Val Kilmer was actually for me one of the hottest Batmans. I think that was the hottest he ever was.
well, you should see him in the Willow.
I like how Spitz like,
That was a
you
great-
thought he was hot
Hot
at
as
Batman.
Batman.
Shit.
Like when you talk to me and there's somebody who's hotter than Batman.
Yeah, because God, I did love Val Kilmer as Batman. He was one of my faves. Him and George Clooney, always.
I always liked George Clooney as Batman. I don't care
Yeah,
what people said. I always thought that was a good Batman.
he was a very good Batman. He was Batman with funny. He was a pretty funny Batman. I will
I just
say.
like he also captured kind of like that like he captured a good Batman even though there was comedy in it, but like when he was just like straight Batman too, he captured it very well.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking at me. Batman related. They're all looking at me now.
Look at
I'm
Ryan.
just gonna say, well, not my Batman, not George Clooney. Not nothing against him. I don't really care for Batman and Robin. I don't think it's the cinematic abortion other people say it is. It just wasn't exactly my favorite of the Batman films.
I just like Batman. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I was gonna
That's
say
all
I
have
just
to
like
say.
Batman.
Batman could be really its own like era. We have enough to talk about Batman.
We
Just
made
like,
an entire podcast. Most of our podcasts involve Batman.
at some point,
It always comes around about to this.
it's not an Old Man Orange podcast unless Batman gets mentioned at least once.
No, it's always mentioned. Yeah.
No, it's Batman, something getting raped. Let's see. We frequently mention Pokemon. It just finds its way in there
Yeah,
somehow.
Pokemon kind of defined like that.
I remember like some of the very original Pokemon. That's
Oh.
about it. And I don't know what they did or anything. I just thought they were adorable.
In the phrase "back in the '90s."
Yeah.
Yes.
Back in the 90s.
Back in the 90s.
It also could be summed up to like back in the day, which means the same thing.
Yeah, which pretty much just means the exact same thing. It's because things were better back then.
They were. Well, anybody else got another action movie they want to throw out there? One last movie?
Action, no.
This is more of kind of like a. Let me look at my list here. There's so many movies we didn't talk about, but it's fine because you probably we'll probably get to them eventually. Just through
Well, yeah,
the
these
podcast.
are, you could sit here and talk for like hours. on
Oh,
something
yeah,
like this.
especially 'cause
it's
it's
a
like
very
we haven't
open
even-
topic.
Yeah, and you haven't even touched on things like comedies, and it's like you got all sorts of things.
Yeah,
to go
I
with
guess our
that.
comedies were summed up in the snow movies for some reason.
Yeah.
Our snow day movies were pretty much all comedies,
Except for
Ryan's.
me, yeah.
Except Ryan.
Well, if you could name off one comedy really quickly, what would be your favorite comedy almost, or at least one of them?
One of my favorite comedies, I'd have to actually say, is SLC Punk.
Ooh, that is
That
really
was
good.
good
I would
really
consider
good
that
movie.
movie more of a drama, but
It is dramatic, but it has.
it has a
some-
lot of funny stuff in it though.
Oh yeah, and so some of the greatest lines I've ever heard in my life. Or for a newer comedy, I've fallen in love with Paul.
I never
I haven't
seen
seen
that
that one
one.
yet.
Oh my god, I love it.
Seth
Jason.
Rogen alien movie.
Yeah, Seth Rogen is an alien, and it's got the two British guys that did Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and quite a few other things. Run, Fat Boy, Run. That was another one he did. And they come here and they go to like Comic-Con and they decide they want to go see all the great alien spots. And they end up running into an alien named Paul. It's a sick joke because when he crashed on this planet, he squished a dog named Paul.
Oh.
Oh,
they
poor
they
dog.
couldn't pronounce his real name, so they named him Paul. And yeah, God, it's the cast that they choose is really great because it's really funny, but it is like it's one of those things that you watch it and I'm kind of like I could see that happening to poor unfortunate nerds.
Yeah.
like especially around this time period with like just the way they did it. And the thing that was awesome to me that they did it with is Paul. They made him the exact same alien that we kind of associate aliens with.
Mhm.
Short, like 3 feet tall, gray, big, slanty eyes. The one difference that makes him not creepy, makes you kind of fall in love with him, they humanized his eyes.
Really?
They're not
Okay.
solid black. They look like it at certain angles, but they're not solid black.
Huh.
He has a pupil, he has irises, and I find that fascinating that you can do that. You can take like one of the meanest looking things in the world, like bears. You make that thing look like a real bear in a drawing, it'll be scary. You put humanized eyes in it, we're suddenly not that scared of it.
Boo-boo.
That's a good point. I never thought of that.
Yeah, you put human eyes into any kind of a drawing, and all of a sudden we're not afraid of it. But you
Mhm.
leave them as is, like what an animal is supposed to look like, or what this alien is supposedly going to look like. You're like, wow, it's really scary with totally like blacked out eyes. And you're like, oh well, here, let me make it look a little bit more human. You're like, oh yeah, he's friendly. I'll go talk to this alien. And that's what made me laugh. Is I was like, oh wow, you know, he looks cool. Like I would totally hang out with this alien. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, but I wouldn't hang out with most of the drawings of this alien. And then I was like, it's the eyes.
The eyes.
It was really cool. I love the way they did it. Had one of my favorite pot smoking scenes in the world too.
I have yet to see that one. I guess the Seth Rogen part was always my turn off the movie because I like Nick Frost and
Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg.
Oh, is that their
a lot.
names?
Yeah,
Aha.
And anything Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright work on together is always really good.
they're always amazing.
Yeah, it was funny, and Jane Lynch is in it.
But I still would like to see it at this point. I've just that Seth Rogen thing kind of I guess is like the one thing I was just like, oh, 'cause I heard those guys are having a new movie. It's like, oh, Seth Rogen's in it. Well,
I like Seth Rogen. That's the funny thing. Is
Your
I love.
movie Kryptonite. I'm sorry,
I
I cut
know.
you off.
I mean,
Go
like,
ahead.
fine.
oh well, I'll get to it. Maybe I can find one in a different language. I mean, I could get a dubbed version.
The version you just don't like his voice.
Then at least it'll be somebody else. That's all I have to say. But other than that,
Like, what if it was like Gilbert Godfrey voicing over the alien? Like,
Oh,
hi,
God.
I'm Paul.
Oh jeez. God, I only ever think of him as a parrot too. It's
Yeah.
so sad.
he's in Beverly Hills Cop too.
Oh God.
It's the same voice.
It's always interesting to see him and like what he looks like in reality because it's like his
He kind
voice.
of looks like it.
Yeah, his voice. It's like his voice really does like affect his facial expressions, and he's got such like this. I don't know. He's got a weird mouth. That's the best way I can describe it. The way he talks and the way it messes up his face. You're just like, you're such an odd looking individual.
No, he's definitely interesting.
Yeah, it definitely. It's one of those very distinct voices. I do like that in movies. Is I like distinct voices.
Yeah, that's what they always mostly get for a lot of times. Those Disney ones, especially.
Yeah, because like Sam Elliott. I love Sam Elliott's voice,
I love Sam Elliott.
especially when he's doing like the Big Lebowski.
Mhm.
I love it. One of the best narrations ever. And then he was the Marlboro Man in Thank You for Smoking. Have you
He
seen that?
was, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, who better to play the Marlboro Man than Sam Elliott, the closest we have to the original Marlboro Man?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's also in Roadhouse.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's pretty much like
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, he's pretty much Obi-Wan. He's the Swayze's sensei.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Can you have a better sensei to the Sways?
No, the Roadhouse. Oh yeah, that's one of my all-time favorite movies. Let me have those other ones.
That's not an
Roadhouse.
action, but yeah.
Huh?
That's not a comedy, but yeah.
No, I was like, we
No, it definitely falls under action,
we wind
though.
around to these places here, but it looks
is-
like we're running pretty low on time, or we're running high on time, I guess you could say.
I guess, yeah.
So it looks like a good place to end it at. We can always talk more about movies another time.
Always, movies are a good thing for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And I'm Nora Chambers.